Hello, Katie, and thank you for joining Shoes in Bitcoin.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
How are you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. Quite a day, quite a few days I've had lately, so it's interesting.
After the news from yesterday and the Twitter storm, actually, so your Twitter and Messenger must be flooding with
Yep,
messages and greetings from everyone.
exactly. And you and I set up this meeting a while back, and like my calendar is blowing up now. So it's kind of interesting that we set up that call a few weeks ago, maybe even a month,
Right.
and now it's like in the middle of all that, which is pretty cool.
Right. Thank you. Thank you once again for making it today. So, Katie, the idea of this conversation actually is to know more about your project and more about you and how did you join the Bitcoin community and when this happened.
Definitely. Well, both you and I are immigrants, and we understand what it is like to go from one country to another. And we had our own reasons to do that. Maybe different opportunities, maybe different lifestyle, different culture, an ability to learn another language. It can be anything. But we decided to take this step and expatriate from our home country. Now, a lot of people are moving to the United States, as they say it's a country of immigrants, but then there are a lot of people who are actually leaving United States these days. And the reason it's happening is mostly because the freedom that we were promised here may not be to the extent that we hoped for. And also things like the lifestyle, like things are changing in the world. You may find a better lifestyle for yourself in Portugal rather than in the United States, or you decide to start traveling the world and you realize that you still have citizenship based taxation here in the US. And like different people find different reasons and different goals and requirements for them to leave their home country and go elsewhere.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, by far, not all of my clients are leaving their country. A lot of them just get a second passport in order to have a hedge against their own government, or, like a plan B, just like my company is called. And they're obtaining a second passport just so they have an exit plan. And that's what the company is about.
Right. So, but it's a Plan B passport. It's from Bitcoin B, or it's just because we always have to be. It's just a coincidence because actually your project Bitcoin accepted here. The Plan B passport is a project. It's an idea came out after you have joined the community in USA. So you have mentioned you're based out of. I'm sorry, I couldn't understand this.
Well, yeah. Right now I'm in the U.S.
Okay.
And I started this company already as a Bitcoiner, and of course, Plan B passport was kind of play on words. So basically, it's your Plan B passport as a Plan B option, but then also we all have a big B in our in our head, such as Bitcoin. So like Plan B passport is kind of like in between Bitcoin and just being a Plan B as a second option.
It's an additional bridge.
Yep, for sure.
Okay, great. And so basically, your project is focused on providing very detailed services and processes and procedures. So you're supporting the people to obtain a second passport everywhere around the world, or in a particular.
Well, when I started this company, I only worked with like 30 different jurisdictions. And I realized at some point that my audience is not interested in all of those. And I'm basically wasting my time learning all those jurisdictions without actually needing them for my audience. And then based on like my internal philosophy and what my clients need, I basically settled on the 7 programs. So St. Kitts, Antigua, Dominica, Vanuatu, Grenada, St. Lucia, and Portugal. Portugal is a little different because it's a residency program, while all others are passport programs. So it's a citizenship by investment. And the reason I decided to stick with these programs because they provide confidentiality of the process. Those are pretty straight and short ways to obtain the passport. So you don't have to move to the island. You don't have to reside on the island. You either purchase real estate there or you donate into sustainable growth fund of the country. And then, 5, 7 months later, without visiting the island, you receive the passport.
Mhm. Mhm.
Another reason, of course, is tax regime that these countries provide. They're well-known tax havens, meaning that there's no capital gains tax, no global income tax, no inheritance tax, and that's pretty huge. And like that's very aligned with my philosophy because, like, I do not believe that government should have 40% of what I got from my Bitcoin gains. Like, if they were smart enough, they would buy Bitcoin themselves. Like, why do I have to do the work, do the research, get Bitcoin, and then still share my profits with them? Like, fuck that. And I think taxation is theft, and people should find their tax haven solution and stop supporting the bad guys.
The bad guys, those who are willing us to pay them additionally. But yeah, so there are several aspects actually. So I mean, I know that they have started several projects that are related to cities and closed communities with Bitcoiners only, and maybe this is I would say a wonderful idea, and these people are going to take care of all the additional let's say things that we need in our normal life because I assume at least the only reason for paying taxes is because, for example, I don't want to have holes on the street when I'm driving my car, which you can see in Bulgaria and not only. Um, so this is, I would say, when I pay tax, I'm expecting back something. But yeah.
Well, one reason I really want to make this thing bigger, not even for my business, but for the competition. Like I want to incentivize competition between the countries to provide us with better services at better price because now they realize that they're competing for our wealth and fruits of our labors. And like as you mentioned, there are villages that started to grow, there are closed communities and all that. Like small nations and like small states, small governments should become a thing and locally provide good services without outsourcing the, like, I don't want to outsource decision making for anybody else. Like, I don't vote and I don't think anybody should, because that's basically outsourcing your life decisions to somebody else. And in this scenario, if you have a small governments, the outsource is happening kind of like a peer-to-peer. So I basically say, okay, he's a good engineer, he's going to build that, and I'm okay with that, support that. So there's this different consensus level, not that I choose a person that chooses a person that chooses a person, and then like there's an endless chain of inefficient government officials. um, so that's uncool.
Definitely, it's not cool, and now it's even more it's escalating more than ever. This
For sure.
coolness started being very transparent to the majority of people who make the extra effort to verify the information that they are receiving. But this is another topic. So you would love to make, this is your target and your goal. You want to make a competition between countries in order they to think about alternative ways and incentives, and to attract in this way more people who are willing to live on their territories. This is a
Yep.
very big goal, and there are lots of people who are supporting you, and I'm sure you're going not only to trigger interest, but to receive additional appreciation. Can you disclose if you are currently in the process of identifying other countries? You have mentioned that you were reading all the jurisdictions and their legislative system.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a huge amount of work. Are you a lawyer, or do you have such expertise?
No, I'm not a lawyer myself,
Yeah.
but going through my immigration process to the United States, my lawyer abandoned me halfway through, like literally quit answering my emails and messages. And I was left in the middle of the process, and I didn't know what's going on with my immigration status. Am I legally in the country or not? Where's my green card? Where is all that stuff? So I basically had to pick it up where it was, learn my case, and keep representing myself to get my own stuff here in the US. And I had no issues with that. I'm a proud dropout, so I do not have any degree. But
Yeah,
like
yeah, you know that.
knowing the information, yeah,
Right,
knowing information doesn't require a certificate or anything like that.
definitely.
Um, of course, I have an amazing team, and now we have a full legal team that basically takes care of everything on the legal side of things. I don't touch that much. However, I'm pretty still involved in all the paperwork just because I want to keep an eye on that for sure.
That's
I do look into other jurisdictions still. Like right now, I'm settled on this 7, but you know what's been happening with El Salvador, and so many people are asking about it.
hmm,
So I'm doing my research, trying to figure out how they're gonna actually release this program and what it's gonna look like for Bitcoiners to actually obtain either permanent residence there or perhaps a passport.
right.
So I'm definitely open to add more jurisdictions. Just based on the current situation of what's going on in the world, I think these are the best, at least for the audience I'm working with.
Right. And can you disclose um, more information about the volumes, and is this hundreds of people, thousands of people who are willing to have a Plan B passport?
A lot of people.
A lot of
I mean,
people. Okay.
probably everyone is wants to do that, but it's a not a small check. It's $150,000. It's
Yeah.
quite an investment. And in a lot of cases, my clients go through donation program, which means that you will never get the money back. So it's not an actual investment; it's citizenship by donation in this scenario. And there are a lot of interest, and obviously, there again, as I mentioned, there are multiple reasons why people want to have a passport. And let's say what happened in the world in the last 18 months. We've been through lockdowns. We realized that we don't have the freedom we thought we had. Then, let's say in the United States, there was election and half the country was unhappy with the results. And then we have Bitcoin that is also, going up and bringing a lot of capital gains. Well, if you don't sell, you don't pay. But still, like people are considering exiting their Bitcoin position for, lifestyle and everything, and they realize what capital gains they own. So all this thing really spiked interest in Plan B Passport within the community, and we've been crushing it as a business. So I'm very happy about that, of course. And we're going to be growing. We're going to be getting better at our services, constantly trying to do that, and growing as a business too.
That's awesome, Katie. Awesome, and I wish you lots of luck and success. So basically, we are already talking 25 minutes. It means you have just lost 20 minutes with a person who is willing to have a Plan B passport. Thank you very much, because
Yeah,
I'm not donating anywhere
I
right now.
understand. I
I
understand.
appreciate it. Okay, Katie. So can we switch back to Bitcoin?
Absolutely.
I'm following lots of people on Twitter. As I have mentioned to you, I'm relatively new to this environment, and yeah, this is the profile of shoes in Bitcoin. I'm not following you from here. I'm going to do it now. But yeah, so you have 31,000 and yeah, 31,000 followers you have. So this is and this is your pin tweet, by the way. So I love this tweet. I'm substituting this word with flower. So we already have flower you money, definitely have flower you mentality. And here are flower you passports. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So I love very much this strength that you are not only demonstrating on Twitter, but actually your project with 1B Passport is a very strong one. The idea is
Thank you.
touching lots of people, I'm sure, and also on the positive side for sure, but there are also people who may not like you very much because
Yep.
of you being such a strong woman who is definitely taking very interesting opportunities. So my admirations
Yeah, for
and
sure.
congratulations once again. Can you tell me more
Thank you.
about? Welcome. Can you tell me more about the way you have the first? I don't know, maybe not the first Satoshi package, the super Satoshis that you bought, but maybe around the people and how it happen actually this to you to understand that there is Bitcoin and it's the magical
Yep.
digital cash.
Yeah, magic internet money.
Mm.
So I was already living in the States, and I was starting my first business. And there was an interesting moment where I basically went to the language school where I learned the language. And I met another Russian girl there who was like crying, running around. I'm like, hey, dude, like, what's up? What's going on? So she's been going through hard times. She got kicked out of her host family because they didn't like her, and she had nowhere to go. There were no hotels around to move in. So I basically helped her out. I already had the car, so I moved her from the host family to another place. I helped her, find some, like, I basically helped her to live through the next couple of weeks, and then she was really grateful for that. And I told her a little bit that I'm like trying to figure out what is this Bitcoin thingy that like I don't understand. My English is not good enough to read on it yet, like at least not the technical side of things. And then a few months later, she gets back to me on social media, and she's like, "Hey, Katie, I'm actually like a producer on this TV show, and there's this Russian cryptocurrency fund, as she called them, who's going to New York for a conference, and they need a translator."
Mhm.
At this point, I was learning the language for like a year at best, probably less. And I was like, of course I'll be translating, not a problem. So they actually hired me for 2 days of translation work at this conference, where I helped them take interviews from all the speakers at the conference. And that was a Bitcoin conference. And as I went there, I was like, damn it, I have no knowledge on that. Like, I really need to figure out what's going on. This is my opportunity. And I just started asking people around, like, how do I actually learn about it? So one of the guys recommended me Antonopoulos' book, Mastering Bitcoin. And that was like, boom, okay, I get it. Like, I get some of it. Obviously, I didn't get the whole thing. But then I just, went all the way down the rabbit hole, and my life never been the same ever again. So that was an interesting first interaction with the community, and it blew my mind.
Yeah, it sounds really wonderful, and also the fact that you have helped that girl over there. It's very good. Very good. So, and you see, so you do one good thing, and then it comes back to you in unexpected way because I'm, I mean, recently during the last year, for sure, lots of people are talking much more about Bitcoin compared to before that period. But I feel myself lucky that I have entered almost 3 years ago, and I still think that people who understand that technology and really make this extra effort to understand it, to read about it, uh, they automatically get converted if they really get what's behind it. And the sooner you do it, I think it's better, because yeah, you keep learning for all these additional developments and second, third layers that they're building on them to support most probably and potentially a mass adoption. Do you envision a mass adoption soon, or we are far away
For
from that
sure.
right now, even with El
Well,
Salvador? Yeah.
the learning curve is huge. Like I can tell that. Like in order to like, I'm still learning something new about Bitcoin every day. Like it's crazy how much history and knowledge there are, and it's like we are always what 12 years ago it started, and like we were able to like actually see a lot of Bitcoin history and witness it. Now I'm imagining like people who just joining the Bitcoin space. I'm like, damn, it must be hard. Like so many memes that they can't understand, and like so much history that we refer to and they don't get it. But at the same time, the quality of information right now is so much better. Like it's insane, where you can like just listen to a 6 series of podcast episode and be like, shit, I get it. Like great. um Now regarding the mass adoption, like it will happen. Like they want it, they don't want it, doesn't matter, it will have to happen. Now the question is like when it's gonna happen, and is it gonna be by choice, or are they gonna be forced into that? So basically, obviously not forced like, hey, you have to use Bitcoin, but in a way that is like hyperinflation hits so hard that there is no other option for you but, you know, start using Bitcoin. And like we know about inflation, like your country probably seen it multiple times, and so did mine. And that's why it was easy for us to grasp the whole 21 million supply. And hard money, basically the concept of hard money is really important for us because we understand inflation. Now Americans on the other side, they have not seen it in the generations, honestly. Like the money was pretty good for them over the last many years, and only now they're like, wait, what's going on? What is this money printer? What's going on with the Fed? And now they kind of will have to learn, and they don't have a precedent to be based on. Like I had multiple precedents throughout my lifetime where my currency would drop 50% in no time. So now they will just have to accept that things like that might happen, and you better hedge against what's going on in the world and geopolitical game and the Fed.
Definitely. Let's see. I'm absolutely sharing your opinion that it's going to happen sooner or later. So I hope it's not that painful, this happening, as you're saying, with this inflation, because maybe this is the hard way to learn. But yeah, there will be consequences for everyone. Sorry, my English is not so so good.
You're great. You're great. I've been learning English for 5 years only, so I get it. Like I'm trying to do my best.
I used to learn English by working in English back in 2011. I started as a technical support advisor, picking up the phone. Yeah, it's another time. I hope to visit you also in USA one day. I've been to San Francisco, and to Las Vegas. I'm more impressed by San Francisco. So I hope I can visit you sooner
For
than
sure.
expected. And also feel free you to join us in Europe, you know. So in Europe, it's also very beautiful, but it's getting to be harder and harder. What about the restrictions right now in USA? I mean, are the people still that afraid, or all this fear is over and they're focusing on other stuff?
Well, depending on state. So
Okay.
the states are really different between each other. And I'm currently in Texas, where there's no fear, there's nothing else. And before that, I was in Florida, in Miami, which like I picked those countries. You know, I'm playing jurisdictional arbitrage game, and when COVID came in, I made sure that I'm not like going around in a mask and I can't dine in. And, I'm very, like, I was not under lockdown for any period of time throughout the whole thing. I was in Mexico. I was traveling a lot. I had like 60 flights since the beginning of COVID, more than that by now. And then I was just picking places that are not crazy about this whole thing and give me freedom to calculate my own risks and make my own decisions. And so I did. So I was in Mexico for a while. Then I moved to Florida, Miami, and now I'm in Texas. So I was basically picking the places that provided me with the most freedom I could get.
Great. So this was your plan B. So Katie is always ready for everything, and that's great. Okay, Katie, I really would like to thank you once again for the time that you've spent with me. It's very much appreciated, and it's a pleasure to talk to such a strong woman like you are. Thank you.
Really, really appreciate it. Thank you.